Thanks. Thanks. So I'd like to just tell a little bit about myself. Is that okay? Just tell you a little bit of my story. So actually, before I got into this industry, I was probably like some of you. I had a corporate background, among other things. And if you had told me I would be in network marketing, back then I would have laughed. I would have said, no way, no way. My idea, no offense to any senior citizens, but my idea of network marketing those days was a bunch of silver-haired people going door to door trying to sell each other something. And I said, why would I want to do that? That's ridiculous. No way. No, I had, a young man's self-importance and that kind of thing. But, what I found was that was some thinking that was incorrect. It wasn't accurate. It just wasn't accurate. Let me give you an example of inaccurate thinking. How many of you don't know anything about John F. Kennedy, right? So everybody has an image of John F. Kennedy. My image is, here's this good-looking young guy, very, very viral, and he had these young children he used to lead around, right? And, beautiful hair, blah, blah, blah. Now, that image is totally inaccurate. If he were around today, I think he'd be 90-something. If he had that beautiful hair, it certainly wouldn't be the color it was. Those children are full adults, right, with lives and families of their own. So that's not an accurate picture. And my picture of this industry was not accurate. What I found when I really looked at it, when I was challenged enough to look at it, when somebody said, hey, it's not that. Yeah, there is that. And he was like that. But what this is really about is this is the new economy emerging on the foundation of the old economy, which, if you look around, is no news, is in deep trouble, and some sectors is crumbling and never to return again. Right? This is the new economy. This is the new freedom that's available to anyone. This is the new way to make a living that is much more than just making a living. That's what's important. That's what's true. So 15, 20 years ago, my wife and I got involved, and what we found on the other side of that inaccurate thinking was that this is the most fair, most equitable, most egalitarian, to use a word, way for us to create not only sustenance, but abundance for ourselves, our families, our communities, and actually do some good in the world in the process. Now, if that sounds like a lot, it is. And this industry and this company delivers on that. You see, one of the things that you wouldn't know about myself and my wife, we've been married for 20 years, is that when we got married, we were probably like a lot of young people. We had a lot of love for each other, a lot of warmth, but we had no money, and we had no prospects. We were probably, I'm going to guess, we had about $50,000 of credit card debt. We had, just like no way to pay that off. We had some funky little jobs. We could kind of maybe make the interest payments each month, but those didn't quite, actually we were getting deeper in debt by just making the minimum payments. You know how that works? Make the minimum payment and your grandkids will be paying it when you're gone, that kind of thing, whatever that's about. What we figured out was that we didn't have a lot of options. To work and get a job where we might make $50,000 a year, we need that to live. There's no way we could save money to pay that off. Just wasn't going to happen. And we also found that we were sick and tired of being tied down to a location that we didn't want to be in and working for somebody else's dream. We were fulfilling a dream, but it wasn't our dream. It was fulfilling the employer's dream. Now, if any of that sounds familiar, I'm going to ask you to look with new eyes at what's on offer here. See, our life now is very different than it was. Very different. We have location freedom. We can live anywhere in the world. As a matter of fact, we do. We have homes in multiple countries, so we get to have what's called endless summer, right? We get to spend summers in our lovely Colorado, and then we get to go spend summers in the South Pacific, and in between we can go to Hawaii or Chile or Europe or wherever we want in between. So we can be wherever we want. And guess what? We can run a multi-million-dollar international business. Here's my office. If I get reception, I can run my business. How cool is that? We have location freedom. We also have time freedom. Now, what I know is my dad, who I love very much, gave me some advice. And it was good advice when he gave it to me 40 years ago. He said, you know, son, here's the secret to success. And this is totally valid for his day and his time. He said, get yourself an education, get yourself a good job with a good company, and you give it your best, and then you can retire and enjoy your golden years. And they'll take care of you. Now, how many of you would give that advice, no disrespect to my dad, but how many of you would give that advice to your children today? Right? Does not apply. Just not realistic. For one thing, I just want to share for you young people, the golden years, they ain't all that golden. You know? I'd give all the gold to be young again, because that's when you have the ability and the youth and the chance to travel and do the things you want to do. So if you're young, do it. And if you're not so young, get yourself in a position you can do it. But go first class. Because when I was young, I traveled, and I traveled on a very strict budget. But the point is this. Today's strategy, today's economy, today's situation calls for a different way of approaching life and business. The old industrial models of 40 years, 40 hours a week, and retire on 40% of what you need to live, it's bankrupt. It's not going to work. Many people in this room and people outside this room are probably thinking, I'm going to have to work the rest of my life. There's no retirement. The government's not going to bring in the cavalry and rescue me. Social Security's a myth. Don't have rich uncles. I'll have to work till I die. Now, if that sounds like a wage slave death sentence, there is hope. And it's this thing called network marketing. You owe it to yourself to take a good look. Remember that picture of John F. Kennedy? My picture of network marketing was not accurate. Yeah, I challenge you to take a good, sober, honest assessment of what's on offer here. And just look at it. And if you're a person who's skeptical, we encourage you to look deeply at what's on offer. What's on offer? Again, location freedom, live where you want. You want to live in the city? Live in the city. You want to live in the country? Live in the country. You don't have to be near the center of employment. Time freedom, the freedom to be with your family, the freedom to work in your community, the freedom to pursue your interests, or the freedom to do nothing, right? Time freedom, the ultimate commodity is time. And also, the opportunity to make a difference, a real difference in our lives, in the lives of other people. Remember I said we had debt. As a young couple, we had debt of $50,000 with just no way to pay it off. Well, I just want to share something. Now, because of this wonderful industry and Lifeforce International, we now make in excess of that every month, and have for over a decade, right? And that money comes in, whether we're working, we're on the beach, we're sleeping, we're doing philanthropic work, or we're being with our family. It's residual income, folks, and with that, we have the time freedom, we have the location freedom, and every single penny of every single dollar that comes to us comes because of service and value received. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. It's not some sort of an illegal thing. It's a new way of distributing goods and services on the planet, and people will gladly pay for high-quality products that you're going to hear about. As a matter of fact, the big majority of people that use our products know nothing about our business. They have no interest in it. They just want to buy the products. But instead of selling them in Walmart or Kmart or whatever mart there is, you know, they just buy direct from the factory, and the factory shares the money they would have had to spend to do all that marketing and distribution with us. So every dollar we make comes blessed, I say, because people get value. It changes their lives dramatically and their lifetime loyal customers. So we have, guess what? A lifetime income. So if any of that is of interest to you, I encourage you to put on your sharp listening ears to hear what you're going to hear tonight. And if it is of interest, what you hear, then I encourage you to get back with the person who invited you here and say, you know, all my questions aren't answered, but I'm willing to take another look. This sounds good. And if it does sound too good to be true, I encourage you again, look at it like I would now look at John F. Kennedy was alive. I would now look at it with the economy crumbling around you, with families in trouble, with banks in trouble, corporations in trouble, and governments in trouble. There is a new way, folks. It doesn't look so much like the old way. But I want to tell you this is one of the fastest, most dynamic, emerging industries on the planet, and you now have the opportunity to be part of it. So thank you for your time, and I'm glad you're here.